What's going on, everyone? Blade here, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I went into this update expecting Derieri to be good, but I definitely wasn't expecting her to feel this good. After spending a lot of time of testing her in different content, trying a couple of her builds and her different teammates, just overall seeing exactly what she can do, I can honestly say she's one of the most satisfying characters I've played in 7DS Origins to date. The main reason for this is because it's just the damage she's able to do. Everything that is just flows naturally, which you don't see that often in some of these characters. Now, does this mean automatically everyone should summon for this character? Hey, I'm not gonna speak for you on it, so hopefully the gameplay shows for itself. But while she does have incredible strengths, there are a few things that I feel like a lot of you guys should know before throwing all your gems at her. So today we're going to be going over my first impressions, where I think she shines, what surprised me the most, as well as some of her weaknesses and whether I think she's worth investing in. So let's jump straight into it. The very first thing about Derieri that stood out to me was just how smooth her gameplay feels. Everything flows naturally, her animations are clean, her attacks have impact, and once you start getting into the proper rotation, it feels like she's constantly applying pressure without awkward downtime. One thing I really appreciate is that she doesn't feel clunky. If you guys do remember how Escanor did feel on his day one, it felt very clunky with the fire axe aspect, and she doesn't really have that sluggish or clunky feel. I think the only thing that has given me that feel was when she punches downward on the ground, and that's about it. But even then, it's not even that bad. It actually just feels like it has a decent bit of impact that feels natural. Sometimes characters look amazing on paper, but once you start controlling them and they end up feeling just slow and awkward, she doesn't give you that. Derieri isn't like one of those characters that just the combos don't feel unresponsive. In fact, every combo feels responsive, and that's something I ended up noticing immediately, especially in some of the gameplay that you guys are seeing right now. As we're able just to go through, I finally ended up getting the combo list down, or at least her combo down, where you're usually going to want to press the double E skill and then go into just the Q spam. After you do that, of course, you're going to have a lot of your stacks built. By then you should have your ult around like 3 gauges, maybe even 4, in which you press the ult gauge one whole time. Once it does a bunch of Fury looking attacks here, it's then going to stop and do one big punch. The second she does that punch, you go ahead and press it again. Does the punch again, you press it again, and then finally it's going to let you do one more highlighted ultimate, where then you deal a ton of damage off of that ultimate as well. Now, it took me some time to get used to it because, of course, old man fingers sometimes, you know, but it took me some time to get used to it, and I finally got it down, and she has been doing good ever since. Even running through some of this raid, just going ahead and showing off things that's going on, she's doing pretty darn well. So I do like how the gameplay for her feels great. But getting over to the damage impressions for her, we have some insanely solid numbers. Even at a lower duplicate rating, I wasn't expecting her damage to be fairly high, but she's kind of good all around the board. Whether she's P4, P5, she does a lot of damage, and I have a terrible build. Like, my build is not good whatsoever, and instead of just having weak numbers, I'm looking at her numbers and I'm keep saying like, dude, she does way too much. Especially when buffs are starting to line up, the burst windows are starting to line up as well. It feels incredible. She's capable of deleting enemies surprisingly fast, and even against tankier bosses, much like the Tyrannus raid, her sustained damage felt much better than I originally anticipated. Obviously, everyone's account progression is different. Your gear is going to be different, your weaponry is different, masteries, team investment. This all does matter to make her change, but even accounting for all of that, I feel like Derieri's overall damage output has honestly impressed me more than I originally did think. So the damage output is fantastic. Then going down to the team building. Team building is the one thing that I love the most. She doesn't feel locked. You know what I'm saying? She doesn't feel locked into one single competition, or at least one single composition. This is one of the few things that has a little bit of a interest for me. because it's a character that has 2 different darkness elements and 1 fire element. You would think that her, let's put it in a different way, you would think that her team is very secluded, right? Well, one team you can end up running with her is great with Meliodas. Usually you're gonna have Meliodas on the longsword, you're gonna have her on the axe, and then you're gonna have at least a couple buffers. This is where she kind of plays more of a supporter role, which isn't necessarily bad, but her whole addition or her whole deal with Meliodas in that said supporter role is fairly interesting, because it's not something that I was honestly expecting for her, and she fits the role pretty darn solid. Now we have to keep in mind that she still doesn't have her engraved, so it could be even better, but the whole deal is she's taking down darkness resistance along with every normal attack she's able to do. Plus, allied heroes are getting a 40% crit damage increase, which is crazy just based on her passive. So this is something that I wasn't expecting her to really do, and for the team that is usually utilizing with Meliodas, she's just that good old supporter. Although it says it kind of like a medium DPS type deal, but like she is a decent supporter, and that's cool to actually see. As for her fire and her gauntlets, those play totally different. The fire one is acting more of a just another fire support itself technicality, but I don't think it's necessarily meant for Escanor fully, right? I feel like with how Derieri is going, there's going to be a new fire character that most likely will do amazing with her. She pretty much decreases all fire defense. She's able to, of course, help out your combined attack with crit damage as well as ultimate moves as well. And then whenever she's using her attack, it does increase your max HP. So you would necessarily think this is more of Escanor's alley, though I feel like this is going to build up to being with someone else rather than with him. Mainly just because Escanor himself is kind of in a place where he's not really thriving as much off of this. So pretty decent weapon on that end. And then of course the gauntlets themselves, with just some of the team building around that, is also just superb. Like she can actually run a team totally by herself, have her lineups looking better than originally expected, and as more characters do release that are going to back her up, it's just going to increase her value. It's going to make sure that she benefits off her teammates, amplify her damage, and I can really see the gauntlets absolutely being insane. Right now they're already crazy, and we don't even have a accurate darkness debuffer or accurate darkness like supporter just yet. So imagine what we can do when we have her, Gother, and maybe another darkness supporter in there as well. I think that's going to be cool. In about like good month or 2, something like that, we might get something like that, and Derieri is going to grow even stronger based on that. Now, based on some of these surprising or some of my surprising things that I saw with this character, the strengths of this character, the biggest surprise for me wasn't the damage. Okay, the damage was something that I kind of expected due to the combo star aspect of this character. We've all seen the anime at this point. Combo star is her signature thing, where the more hits she gets on you, the stronger she's going to become. And I kind of expected them to do something like this just to keep it following the anime side of things. Now, the issue was I was not expecting it to be so consistent. The amount of damage that she's able to deal as she's racking up just the damage numbers, as she's racking up the stacks, it is very consistent, and it keeps going into eventually the millions, which is very, very crazy. She doesn't need no ultra flashy rotation. It's very simplistic, and it's just useful. You'll be able to benefit off of this throughout the entire fight once you get your rotation, and everything's great with it. I do love how that does go. Even though it's not perfectly lined up, she does contribute a ton of meaningful damage more than normal. That's something I value a lot. Some characters feel incredible for like 10 seconds, but then you're going to be waiting for like a good 3 to 4 minutes. She doesn't really give me that feeling, which is pretty darn awesome. The only thing that I don't like about this character, I wouldn't say they're necessarily weaknesses, though I will say if you wanted her to be perfect, your positioning needs to be perfect as well. Because usually when you have the bosses, they're usually moving around a lot. or either if you're trying to make sure you're getting some damage off, they're moving around a lot, specifically in the gauntlet side with the ultimate. If you're not positioned correctly and you end up getting slapped out of your ult, or either if you're not ready to do your ult and you do it too early, a boss can easily sidestep up out of that. So you have to make sure you're positioned right. And though if you have Gother, which book Gother does help with that, it keeps them kind of steady, petrified, which makes the positioning a lot better. Other than that, I don't really have any bugs or problems with this, which is a great thing. Now, coming down to the last part for my final impressions, I would say, is this a character worth summoning? Would I recommend her? Heck yeah, I recommend her. I feel like even at the lower duplicate area, after getting more and more testing with her, she is worth duping out. I currently have P8, about to have P9, and I have to say, throughout every upgrade, it has been a blast using this character. All you have to do is just get her built up, and she is definitely worth investing into. Even if you just get the character once now and then maybe a rerun, you get more copies later, I feel like she's going to be a really good character that's going to be very helpful for your account. She even helps out Meliodas, who is a starter character, making him even better now. So I definitely think the investment is worth it, and that she's worth the hype even at the lower standpoints. But biggest mistake for most people is they don't think about that. They just mainly go about the hype and just kind of, you know, go around with it, where with certain characters, much like her, she will actually benefit your roster. Think about your goals before you pull, and I think that's a good thing. Overall, Derieri exceeded my expectations, and honestly, I expected a solid character, but I wasn't expecting this crazy of a character that's also enjoyable. Now, could my opinion change after later on testing? Maybe, but I highly doubt it. The first impressions itself is already crazy, and I feel like this is also my final impressions as well. The more difficult the content does get, the more optimized the teams get, the better we're gonna obviously understand where she stands in meta, though I feel like she is definitely at the top. So let me know down below. Did you summon for Derieri? How are your pulls going? And what do you think about her so far? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you all in the next one of 7DS Origins. Peace on out.